Langflow makes it easy to create AI applications without writing a single line of code. By connecting a few nodes on a canvas, you can create everything from a simple chatbot to an advanced AI application that can answer questions specific to your company's data. And the best part? It's free to use and can be run locally or in the cloud. Langflow uses the Python version of Langchain under the hood, which makes it perfect for prototyping Langchain applications. Furthermore, we can also embed Langflow projects in our own applications, like mobile apps, web apps, and more. In this series, we will explore the many features offered by Langflow, as well as deploying and integrating these Langflow projects in our own applications. But first, let's have a look at setting up Langflow on our own machines. We'll then have a look at the user interface and we'll build our very first chatbot. If you would like to explore a similar tool which uses the JavaScript version of Langchain, then please check out my series on Flowise. Because Langflow uses the Python version of Langchain, we first need to install Python. You will find a link to the Python installer in the description of this video. After opening this page, scroll down to the bottom and under Files, download the installer that matches your operating system. Since I'm using Windows, I'll download the Windows installer. Go ahead and execute the file that was downloaded. From this pop-up, tick Add Python 3.10 to path and then click on Install Now. Next, create a new folder on your drive for the Langflow installation. Then open up the command prompt. On Windows, we can do that by clicking on this address bar and typing cmd. This will bring up the command prompt window. Before installing Langflow, it's recommended to first create a virtual environment. This will ensure that all packages are installed locally for our Langflow project. However, this is optional, and if you want to install the dependencies globally on your machine, then you can go ahead and do that as well. To create a virtual environment, all we have to do is type Python. On Linux and Mac, it should be Python 3. On Windows, it's simply Python, followed by -m, then env, and then the name of the virtual environment, which I will call env. This name is up to you. After pressing enter, this virtual environment will be created, and this will only take a few seconds to complete. And we can now see that the env folder has been created. We now need to activate this virtual environment by typing env /scripts /activate and press enter. The virtual environment is now active, and this is indicated by the virtual environment name in parentheses at the start of this command line. We can now go ahead and install Langflow by typing pip install Langflow, and after pressing enter, all the dependencies will be installed. After installation is complete, we can now go ahead and start Langflow. We can do this by typing Python -m Langflow and then press enter. We can now access Langflow by clicking on the URL presented in the console, and you should see a dashboard similar to this. We can close Langflow by going back to the terminal and then pressing Ctrl and C. Alternatively, you can simply close the command prompt window. We can keep our Langflow instance up to date by running the following command: pip install --upgrade Langflow, and this will update all the dependencies for Langflow. Let's now move on to the final dependency for this video. For our AI models, we will be using the OpenAI models during this series. So please go ahead and sign up for your free OpenAI account by going to openai.com, then go to sign up, and then create your account. After signing up, you might be presented with this screen. Simply click on API, and you should see a dashboard similar to this. In order for Langflow to integrate with the OpenAI models, we need to create an API key. We can get our key by clicking on Personal, then View API Keys. and then click on Create New Secret Key. Give your key a name like Langflow, then create secret key, and go ahead and copy this key. Please ensure to use your own key, as I will be deleting this key after this recording. Back in our terminal, let's go ahead and start up Langflow. Please remember to activate your virtual environment before starting Langflow. This time I'll use the shorthand py-m Langflow, and let's open this URL. Let's now go over the UI for Langflow. This is the dashboard. When we create projects, all of our projects will show up on this page. At the top, we have two navigation options: My Collection and Community Examples. My Collection will list all of our projects. From here, we are able to download all of our projects as a single collection. This is a useful backup feature. Additionally, we are also able to upload our collections. And lastly, we are able to create a new project by clicking on New Project. Under the Community Examples tab, we can see a list of example projects. And these are perfect starter templates. If we want to make use of one of these projects, we can simply click on Fork Example, and this will create a local copy of this project that we can start using. Let's have a brief look at what we are looking at. This project contains two nodes, a conversation chain as well as a chat OpenAI node. On the left side of the screen, we can see all the available nodes that we can add to our project, including agents, chains, document loaders, and more. And during the course of the series, we will have a look at most of these nodes. Because Langflow uses langchain under the hood, you can get more information on what each of these nodes mean by visiting the langchain documentation. Let's continue. Let's leave this project and create our own project from scratch. We can go back to the dashboard by clicking on this back arrow over here. We can now see one project in our collection, and this is the basic chat app which we copied from the community examples. If we want to edit this project, we can simply click on Edit Flow. We can also delete the project by clicking on this trash can icon. Let's go ahead and create a new project. We can do this by clicking on New Project. We now have a blank canvas. After creating the project, a name was automatically assigned, but we can change this by clicking on this drop-down, then Settings, and let's give it a name, something like Basic Chatbot, and let's save this. Let's now have a look at the options that are available on the project. On the top left, we can import an existing project. We can export this project by clicking on Code. We can see the code that we can use to integrate this project in our own applications, but more on this later. And lastly, we can save our project. We can also see a list of all the available nodes that we can add to our project, and we will be covering most of these nodes during the course of this series. At the bottom of the screen, we can see a few additional options. With the plus and the minus, we can zoom in and out of the canvas. Fit View will zoom out so that the entire application is visible, and Toggle Interactivity will lock the canvas so that we can't accidentally move the nodes around. On the bottom right, we've got a button to compile the project, and just below it is a button that we can use to open the chat window, and this will allow us to test our application. Now that we have a blank canvas, where do we start? As a rule of thumb, each Langflow project needs either an agent or a chain. It is the agent or the chain that is responsible for generating the output from the model. Agents are slightly more complex than chains, so we will have a look at agents later on in this series. But for now, let's keep things simple by adding a chain to the project. Let's open up chains and let's grab the conversational chain and then drag and drop that onto the canvas. We can see the required inputs for any node by looking at the inputs on the left-hand side of the node. This little red asterisk means this input is required. So this means that this node requires an LLM, and optionally we can assign memory to the node as well. Memory will allow the AI to remember our conversation history. Let's go ahead and add our LLM to the project. Under Nodes, let's close Chains, and let's go down to LLMs. Under LLMs, we have a list of models that we can add to our project, and we will be looking at the OpenAI models in this series. For OpenAI, we have a choice between OpenAI and Chat OpenAI. Chat OpenAI will give us access to the Chat GPT-like models like GPT-3 and GPT-4, where the OpenAI node will give us access to the older and more simplistic OpenAI models. Let's go ahead and grab the Chat OpenAI node and add that to the canvas. And let's connect this Chat OpenAI node to the conversation chain by dragging from the output to the LLM input on the conversation chain. Let's have a look at the node that we just added to the project. At the top of the node, we have a few options. We can click on Delete to remove this node, Duplicate to copy the node. By clicking on Documentation, we will be redirected to the documentation on Langchain related to this node. And lastly, we can click on Edit to show or hide the parameters available on the node. On this node, we can change the model that we want to use by clicking on Model Name. I'm going to change it to GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is a highly intelligent model and one of the cheaper models available from OpenAI. We can now go ahead and paste in our OpenAI API key. The temperature will control how factual or creative the model will be. This is a value between 0 and 1. 0 being factual and 1 being fully creative. I'll just leave it on 0.7. Let's go ahead and save this model. We can now test out our model by clicking on this little compile button, and after it's compiled, we can click on the chat button. This will now bring up this chat window, and we can start interacting with our model by typing a message like "Hello there." And as you can see, we got a response back from the model. You have now created your very first chatbot. Let's go ahead and look at a slightly more interesting example. Let's go back to the dashboard and let's create a new project. In this example, we are going to create a chatbot that has a slightly more interesting personality. Let's start off with adding a chain. Under Chains, go ahead and grab the LLM chain and add it to the canvas. The LLM chain is similar to the conversation chain, but it has one additional feature. We can assign a prompt template to this chain, and we can use the prompt template to change the behavior of our model. Let's first add an LLM to the project. So under LLMs, select Chat OpenAI, and let's add that to the canvas. For the model name, let's select GPT 3.5 Turbo, and let's connect our model to the chain. Also, let's paste in the OpenAI API key. Let's now go ahead and add the prompt template. In the node list, go to Prompts, then select the prompt template node, and let's connect this node to the chain. We can now use this prompt template node to change the behavior of our model. We can do this by clicking on this input field. This will bring up this pop-up. And in this pop-up, we can now enter some text that will prime our model and change its behavior. Let's enter something like, the following is a conversation between an old pirate and a user. The pirate is interested in searching for treasure and defeating his enemies. We then need to add our message from the chat box into the prompt template. We can do that by typing something like user, and in curly brackets, a variable name that will represent the question from the user. We can call this anything. I'll just call it question. And this will inject the input from the user and add it to the prompt. Lastly, just below this, we can type pirate and leave it blank. The AI will now complete the rest of this conversation. Let's check and save. Let's save this project, and we can rename our project by clicking on this drop down, then Settings. I just called mine Pirate Chatbot. We can now compile this project by clicking on this button, and then let's click on Chat. On the left hand side, we will see all the variables declared in the prompt template. we only declared one and we called it question. It is important that we enable this toggle for the variable that represents the input from the user. Let's now test out our pirate chatbot. I'll just type something like, hello there. Let's press enter. Our bot is now responding as if it's a pirate. Prompt templates is a fantastic way to change the behavior of the models. You should now be able to run Langflow on your local machine, and hopefully you have a basic understanding of how to create chatbots. Please like this video and subscribe to support my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.